Oblique Seville.
Seville.
Oblique Seville. He takes a second Diamond League win.
This time they're away. It's ever so close. Seville from Thompson.
Proud Oblique.
Oblique Seville.
Oblique can do it. I feel like Oblique can.
Oblique Seville.
Oblique Seville was born on March 16, 2001 in Jamaica, a nation where sprinting is not just a sport, but a tradition passed from generation to generation. Growing up in Kingston, the rhythm of athletics was everywhere. The streets, the schools, and the playgrounds all carried the echoes of sprinting legends. From an early age, Seville displayed bursts of speed that set him apart. In casual races with friends, he always seemed to reach the finish line first. Teachers and coaches quickly noticed his natural stride, a blend of power and balance unusual for a boy his age. By the time he entered organized school competitions, his dominance became undeniable. Every race revealed a spark that hinted at something greater. For Seville, running was more than play. It became a passion, a way of life shaped by the culture surrounding him. Kingston's rich history of producing world-class athletes provided both inspiration and pressure. Young sprinters dreamed of following in the footsteps of Jamaican icons. Seville's talent opened the doors to Calabar High School, one of the island's most prestigious institutions for track and field. At Calabar, discipline met opportunity. The school's fierce sprinting program sharpened his raw ability into competitive skill. This was the foundation, the place where Oblique Seville's journey toward greatness truly began. By 2018, Oblique Seville's raw speed had matured into competitive fire. Local meets in Jamaica revealed his ability to rise under pressure, and whispers began to spread about a new sprinter with limitless potential. His first real exposure came at youth competitions, where he not only won, but dominated. Each stride carried the weight of expectation, and each finish drew louder applause. The turning point arrived at the 2019 CARIFTA Games, a proving ground for the Caribbean's finest young athletes. Seville lined up in the 100 meters with eyes from across the region fixed on him. With calm focus and explosive drive, he sprinted down the track to clock 10.24 seconds.
Jamaica 1-2. It's Oblique Seville who wins the CARIFTA title,
capturing gold and announcing his arrival on the international stage. That performance was more than a victory. It was a signal. Jamaica had found its next great sprinter, someone capable of carrying the legacy of lightning-fast predecessors. Beyond the individual race, Seville added relay medals to his growing resume, proving he could thrive both as a lone competitor and as part of a team. His name began circulating in headlines, with sports journalists calling him the future of Jamaican sprinting. The comparisons to icons came early, though Seville remained humble. Coaches saw not just speed, but mechanics. His smooth stride pattern, quick turnover, and controlled aggression marked him as special. Yet natural talent alone could not shape a champion. Seville needed guidance, structure, and the wisdom of someone who had built legends before him. That guidance came when he joined Racers Track Club under the tutelage of the legendary coach Glen Mills, the same man who molded Usain Bolt into the fastest man alive.
But he's going to win it by 2 meters, 9.58, the world record!
For a young athlete, stepping into Racers was both intimidating and inspiring. Training on the same track where Bolt, Johan Blake, and other greats had sharpened their craft placed him within Jamaica's sprinting dynasty. Mills immediately recognized Seville's potential. He saw a sprinter with not just speed, but resilience, a young man willing to learn, refine, and endure the long process of elite development. At Racers, Seville's days became a blend of discipline and discovery. Endless drills, technical adjustments, and strength training replaced the carefree races of childhood. Every lap, every sprint, every repetition under Mills's watchful eye was a step toward the world stage. It was here that Seville's boyhood passion began transforming into professional ambition. By the close of 2019, Oblique Seville was no longer just another talented youth. he was recognized as Jamaica's brightest sprinting prospect, groomed by the nation's most decorated coach, and prepared to chase greatness. The world had only begun to take notice, but within Jamaica, the belief was already firm. A new star had been born. The leap from junior promise to senior success is one of the toughest transitions in athletics. For Oblique Seville, 2020 marked the start of this demanding climb. Entering senior level competitions meant no longer racing against peers his age, but against seasoned athletes with years of experience, power, and consistency. The challenge was immense. Yet under Glen Mills' guidance, Seville approached the new phase with patience, knowing greatness required time. Then, the global pandemic struck. Tracks closed, competitions paused, and momentum slowed. Many athletes faltered in uncertainty, but Seville turned the silence into focus. Training under restrictions tested discipline. Without the roar of crowds or the rhythm of race schedules, every session became a mental battle. Mills used this period wisely. He refined Seville's sprint mechanics, worked on his drive phase, and demanded flawless execution from blocks to finish. Each detail mattered. Arm swing, stride frequency, explosive starts. Seville learned that senior sprinting was not just about speed, but precision and control. The pandemic became less an obstacle and more a crucible, forging resilience within the young sprinter. By 2021, Seville emerged sharper, hungrier, and more technically polished than before. He was no longer the wide-eyed junior, but a competitor prepared to earn his place. His first races at the senior level carried both nerves and excitement. Every start was a lesson, every finish a test of his ability to hold his own among established names. Though not yet dominating, his performances hinted at the potential still to come. Observers noticed his composure and clean technique, hallmarks of a sprinter destined for bigger stages. For Seville, these years were not about medals, but about building the foundation to pursue them. He embraced the grind, trusting that patience and discipline would yield future glory. The journey was only beginning. The transition years of 2020 and 2021 would stand as proof that every champion first learns to endure before they learn to conquer. By 2022, Oblique Seville had grown into a formidable force. His stride was longer, his technique cleaner, and his presence on the track undeniable. The world was finally about to see him tested on the grandest stage. At the World Athletics Championships in Eugene, Oregon, Seville lined up in the men's 100 meters, an event watched by millions around the globe. The pressure was immense, but the young Jamaican stood unfazed. Through the heats and semifinals, he impressed, running with ease and confidence. Each round strengthened belief that Jamaica's next sprinting hero had arrived. In the final, Seville exploded out of the blocks, shoulders driving, stride smooth. For a fleeting moment, he seemed destined for the podium. But in the last meters, the more experienced sprinters surged. Seville crossed the line in 4th place, just outside medal contention. It was both a triumph and a heartbreak. To reach the final at his first major championship was extraordinary. Yet to fall just short of a medal left a sting he could not ignore. Many young athletes might have been crushed, but Seville used the moment as fuel. He returned to training determined to close the narrow gap between himself and the world's best. 2023 brought another opportunity, this time at the World Championships in Budapest. A year older, stronger, and more experienced, Seville was ready to make his mark. Again, he powered through the rounds with controlled brilliance, silencing any doubts about his consistency at the elite level. In the final, the story unfolded much like Eugene. For most of the race, Seville was in contention. The Jamaican faithful held their breath as he drove through the middle of the pack. Yet, when the results flashed on the board, history repeated itself. Another 4th place finish. So close, yet again, but not enough for a medal. Back-to-back heartbreaks cut deep. Twice in consecutive years, Seville had proven he belonged among the fastest men alive, only to miss the podium by fractions of a second. The media sharpened the narrative. Headlines called him Bolt's successor, a label that both elevated and burdened him. Being compared to Usain Bolt was the highest honor, but also the heaviest expectation. Bolt was not just a champion, he was a legend, and Jamaica demanded another to follow. Seville shouldered that pressure with quiet resilience. He did not boast or complain. He worked, trained, and focused on the next chance. Coaches reminded him that fourth place was not failure, but proof that he was already among the elite. Still, Seville knew only medals would silence doubt. These years shaped him. The near misses taught humility, sharpened hunger, and forged a mindset that would not accept defeat. For Seville, 2022 and 2023 were not setbacks. They were lessons, the kind only the world stage can deliver. And those lessons were preparing him for the breakthrough to come. The 2024 Paris Olympics were meant to be Oblique Seville's crowning moment. For years, his rise had been marked by near misses, but now he stood on the Olympic stage, prepared to rewrite his story. In the semi-finals, Seville delivered a statement. Blasting from the blocks and maintaining perfect form, he surged across the line in 9.81 seconds, the fastest qualifier of the entire field. The performance electrified fans and analysts alike. For many, it was confirmation that Jamaica's new sprint king had arrived. The Olympic final seemed poised to be his breakthrough, but sprinting is unforgiving. In the final, under the brightest lights and with the weight of history pressing down, Seville faltered at the start. A fraction of hesitation cost him dearly. Despite clawing back with trademark speed, the gap was too much to close. He crossed the line in 8th place, a devastating result after showing such dominance only hours earlier. Critics were swift. Questions arose about his mental edge, about whether he could handle the pressure when it mattered most. Yet Seville did not bow to doubt. Instead, he faced disappointment head-on, acknowledging the pain, but vowing to rise stronger. The Olympics had humbled him, but they had also lit a fire. For Seville, Paris was not an ending. It was a turning point, a promise that his true moment was still to come. After the heartbreak of Paris, many wondered how Oblique Seville would respond. Some feared the Olympic stage had broken him, that the weight of expectation had become too heavy. But Seville had other plans. The answer came swiftly at the Racers Grand Prix in Kingston. Lining up against world champion Noah Lyles, the Jamaican crowd filled the stadium with anticipation. When the gun fired, Seville surged with perfect timing. His drive phase was explosive, his transition smooth, and his finish relentless. He crossed the line in 9.82 seconds, a new personal best. More than just a number, it was a statement. Seville had defeated Lyles on home soil. The crowd erupted, celebrating the rise of a new Jamaican sprint star. The victory restored faith. No longer was Seville the athlete defined by fourth-place finishes or Olympic disappointment. He was now the man capable of beating the best. Throughout the 2024 season, he carried that momentum onto the Diamond League circuit. Meet after meet, he proved his consistency, running sub-10 performances with confidence and composure. Each race added to his reputation. Observers began to note not just his speed, but his maturity, how he executed under pressure, how he managed races from start to finish. By the end of the season, Seville had silenced critics. He was no longer just a prospect, but a true contender for world dominance. Then came a moment that elevated his profile even further. In February 2025, the greatest sprinter of all time, Usain Bolt, publicly endorsed him. Bolt's words carried weight across the sporting world. Seville can do it if he stays fit and focused. The endorsement was both a blessing and burden. For Seville, it was validation from the very man whose shadow loomed over Jamaican sprinting. Yet with that praise came greater pressure. If Bolt believed he could lead Jamaica into a new golden era, the world would expect nothing less. Seville embraced it. Rather than shrink under Bolt's words, he drew strength from them. Confidence surged, fueling his training, sharpening his drive. Redemption was complete, but the breakthrough was only the beginning. With Bolt's support and his own momentum, Seville stood on the cusp of greatness. The 2025 season was where Oblique Seville transformed from contender to frontrunner. No longer chasing recognition, he was now building a resume that demanded respect. His growth was visible across distances. In the 200 meters, he set a new personal best of 20.13 seconds, showing versatility and endurance that complemented his blistering 100-meter speed. Even over 400 meters, Seville improved, lowering his times and strengthening his ability to maintain top-end speed. These performances proved he was not a one-dimensional sprinter, but a complete athlete. July 2025 brought a defining moment. At the London Diamond League, Seville faced Olympic champion Noah Lyles once again. The race carried weight, not just as a competition, but as a test of supremacy. When the gun fired, Seville delivered. His start was sharp, his drive phase commanding, and as the finish approached, he held off Lyles with authority.
Seville is going really well here. Seville's going to win this. Brilliant rid. He even has time to salute. 980.
The scoreboard confirmed it. Seville had beaten the Olympic champion on international soil. That victory sent shockwaves through the athletics world. Beating Lyles in Kingston had been one thing. Defeating him in London proved Seville could win anywhere, against anyone. Analysts and fans alike began circling his name as a major contender for the upcoming World Championships. For the first time, Seville entered a season not as an underdog, but as a favorite. Within Jamaica, his rise also sparked a compelling rivalry. Training alongside Usain Thompson, another world-class sprinter, Seville found himself pushed daily in practice. Thompson's blistering speed and competitive drive forced Seville to sharpen his edge, turning every session into a battle of pride and progress. Yet their rivalry was not destructive. It elevated them both, ensuring that Jamaica's sprinting tradition remained strong, fueled by competition at the highest level. As the season progressed, Seville carried himself differently. Calmer, more confident, aware that his time had come. He was no longer chasing the podium. He was preparing to stand at its very top. By the summer of 2025, there was no denying it. Oblique Seville had risen to supremacy, and the world awaited his ultimate test on the grandest stage of all. Tokyo 2025 was the moment Oblique Seville had waited for his entire career. Years of near misses, heartbreak, and relentless training had all led to this stage. This time, he did not arrive as a hopeful underdog. He came as one of the favorites. The Jamaican sprinter carried the weight of expectation, yet his demeanor was calm. With each step into the stadium, he looked composed, as though destiny itself had been waiting for him. Through the opening heats, Seville ran with efficiency, nothing wasted, nothing reckless. He advanced with ease, conserving energy while sending a clear message. He was ready. The semi-finals brought sharper competition, but Seville held his ground. Smooth out of the blocks, powerful through the drive, he secured his place in the final with control and confidence. The stage was now set. The men's 100-meter final, the crown jewel of world athletics, awaited him. 8 of the fastest men alive lined up, but all eyes were on the Jamaican lanes. Beside him was teammate Usain Thompson, his training partner and rival. Together, they carried Jamaica's sprinting legacy on their shoulders. In the stands, the crowd roared. Among them sat Usain Bolt, the greatest sprinter in history, watching the man many believed could inherit his throne. The silence before the gun was deafening. The athletes crouched, focused, knowing one race would define everything. The gun fired. Seville exploded out of the blocks, driving with precision. His start, once a weakness, was now flawless. At 40 meters, he was in perfect rhythm, his strides long, his body relaxed. At 70 meters, he surged ahead, pulling clear of the field. The finish line approached, and with it, history. Seville crossed in 9.77 seconds.
He was in the driving seat, but Seville had irresistible momentum.
A personal best, a world title, and the race of his life. Behind him, Kashane Thompson secured silver, delivering a historic Jamaican 1-2. The stadium erupted in celebration. For Seville, it was more than victory. It was vindication. After years of being almost, he had finally become the one. Cameras cut to Usain Bolt, who stood applauding. His smile said it all. This was a passing of the torch, a symbolic moment where one era ended and another began. The endorsements poured in. Former Olympic champion Justin Gatlin praised Seville as one of the most talented sprinters ever, acknowledging the rare blend of speed and poise he displayed. And for coach Glen Mills, it was the fulfillment of a long-held belief. The gold medal shone brightly around Seville's neck, but even brighter was the future it symbolized. Jamaica had found its new sprint king, and the world had witnessed his coronation. Tokyo was not just the site of victory, it was the place where Oblique Seville carved his name into history. With his triumph in Tokyo, Oblique Seville became the first Jamaican since Usain Bolt to win the men's 100-meter world title. The achievement instantly elevated him to national hero status. For a country built on sprinting excellence, Seville's victory was more than personal. It was cultural, a continuation of the legacy that Jamaicans hold with pride. The endorsements from legends sealed his place. Bolt's passing of the torch, Justin Gatlin's praise, and Glen Mills' quiet assurance all confirmed that Seville now belonged among the greats. Yet Seville's journey is far from over. His eyes are fixed on even greater heights, the pursuit of Olympic gold and the ambition to crack the sub 9.70 barrier, a mark that only the greatest dare to chase. His story sends a powerful message. From back-to-back fourth-place finishes, to Olympic disappointment, to ultimate world glory, Seville proved that belief and perseverance are as vital as speed. Jamaica celebrates him not just as a champion, but as a symbol of resilience, a reminder that setbacks are not endings, but stepping stones. For Oblique Seville, the legacy is already in motion. And for the world, his rise is only the beginning of a new era in sprinting.